Okay, here goes nothing. If you're lucky to have a good friend like mine that has a Solo stove that's smokeless and is willing to do an experiment, it kind of seems counterintuitive to use a smokeless fire pit to cook in a smoker. But we're going to give it a try and we'll let you know what the results are. Okay, so right now the smokeless fire is just in phase one. We're just getting it started. You're not even really supposed to have the wood above the top of this thing, but we're just going to get a good coal bed going. And when it becomes smokeless and when it brings the huge smoker up to temperature, probably in the mid 200s is what we're shooting for, we'll go ahead and have a smokeless smoke. See what that does. Okay, we get in a few minutes. We put the top ring on, and this thing is an inferno, and it's doing nice smokeless results here. You can see my temperatures are just rising above 200, almost 250 on this one, and you can't even tell this thing is on. I mean, there's very faint hints of smoke here. So this is the smokeless smoker. We're about to find out how it does as far as wood efficiency and flavor. We'll let you know when we find out. Okay, here we are. We're gonna load this smoker. We got some Boston butts. I got 3 Boston butts. We got a picnic. Here we're gonna put in the very brunt of the heat, the very first thing to get the heat. And load up these butts. Got some smoked turkey and a small little piece of butt there. Perfect. We're going to put our brisket and our ribs the next. Yeah, right there. Yep. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. And stick our ribs in the very rear. I have to make room for here. Okay, here's where we ended up. We got a picnic, got 3 Boston butts, a couple racks of ribs, and a brisket. We're gonna do it up. This smokeless fire is trying to play with the fire management a little bit. It actually was jacking our temps up above 400 there for a minute when we moved it. We actually moved the fire closer to the cook chamber, and all that heat was going right in the cook chamber rather than being distributed on this firebox. And we decided to move it back just to kind of get our temperature back down into the cooking range. So trying to stick closer to high 2s, probably no more than 300 degrees. Okay, so I don't really have that much wood prepared already. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 10 full-size splits on that side, maybe 11 or 12. And then we got a bunch of half splits over on that side. So not a whole lot of fuel. We'll see how quickly we go through this and see if we seem to burn less in the Solo stove, achieving those same temperatures. Right now we're sitting in just below 250, maybe approaching 275 on that one. But yeah, back here we're back at 225, so kind of seems like the temps are in the mid 200s currently. And as you can see, there's basically, on camera, there's really almost no visible smoke. I'd say there's a little bit more smoke slipping out back here. What I found, usually with the amount of firewood I'm having to put in here without the Solo stove, to be able to achieve my cook temperature, I'm wanting to close my door to conserve heat and direct it into the cook chamber. This thing is so hot, it's sending so much heat, such an efficient cook, I guess. I'm actually having to leave the door open because when I put the door shut, my temperatures spike. And actually it causes a little bit more smoke when I close the door. So I think this cook, I might just leave the door open the whole time. We'll see how it goes. Okay, here we are, about 3 hours into the cook, and Solo stove is definitely different. I really feel like I put a lot less wood into the smoker than I would have otherwise. I'm maintaining, temperatures. I'm actually maintaining a little bit higher temperature than I want right now. It's up close to 300, about 280. But I've been maintaining mid 200s pretty much the whole cook. But you can see, I mean, it doesn't even look like this thing's on. It's a nice clean burn. There's no smoke pouring out from anywhere. And like I say, I think I'm using less wood. And you can see that burn is really quite clean. So now I did notice early on when I was playing with it, when I was moving this Solo Stove toward the front of the firebox versus toward the back, it was greatly affecting the heat. And so I can continue to play with that some, because when I put it toward the front of the firebox, my temp spiked because none of that energy was being wasted heating up this firebox. It was all going straight into the cook chamber, and I didn't like, at least at that time, with the size fire I had in there, it was making my temp too high. So I moved it back in the cook chamber. And it's kind of neat that that's another variable that you can play with to control your heat, is just how far forward that Solo Stove is in the firebox. And at least my firebox is pretty big. You probably put 2 or 3 Solo Stoves in this firebox. But anyways, let's take a look at what we got going on here. So we got our turkey breast here in the front. Thermometer is sitting at just under 150 degrees on this Boston butt back here. I'm sure that the picnic back there is probably not even quite that hot in the internal temp, even though it's taking the brunt of the heat in the front of the smoker. The ribs are probably done by now. It's been a little over 3 hours. And the brisket back here is starting to formulate some decent bark on it, and the back ribs back here. So it's a little bit, quite a bit different cook than I'm used to, with quite a bit more smoke without that Solo Stove, without that clean burn. Of course, I keep my door jacked open if I need to. I always try to shoot for that cleanest burn I can with a regular fire, and I usually have it on this this grate, and also on top of these angle irons down here to keep plenty of airflow underneath the fire. And I usually keep my vents completely open, if not having the door kind of cracked, because I'm shooting for that clean burn. Today I'm getting a cleaner burn than I've ever had, so we'll see what the flavor's like. Again, burning less wood, more ability to control that temp by moving that stove forward and back in the fire chamber, and those are the differences I'm seeing so far. Okay guys, quick update. So you can see there's a little bit of smoke coming out, and you can see there's a little bit of smoke coming out of the chimney there. So I just opened this door, and what's going on is, what I'm finding out is, if I leave this door shut, and again, both of the air vents are completely open, but if I shut this door, the Solo Stove becomes so hot on the exterior that it doesn't really do its complete combustion thing. I think that the difference in heat from the inner wall to the outer wall, or I'm not exactly sure, but the convection that normally happens, that brings that superheated air up the side of the stove and shoots it out to do that secondary burn, it doesn't seem to happen when this stove gets so hot on the exterior from closing this door. So that in turn gives us a little bit of smoke, which is still not as much smoke as I'm normally. I mean, this is still considered very low smoke, so maybe it's not a problem, but you can barely even tell there's some smoke coming out there. That generally would be really good, and we're sitting at about 200 degrees. I need to throw a couple logs in, but so I just wanted to give you that heads up. So when I close the door, it becomes a little bit less than smokeless, and it doesn't seem to have the temperature spike that I was talking about earlier. So I think I'll leave the door open for the rest of the cooking. Just keep on going with this ultra low smoke cook.
Wait just a minute.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock. Ribs have been on for 5 hours. They looking beautiful.
Okay, what do you think, John? Good smoke flavor?
Yeah, the flavor is absolutely spot on. It's a little chewy for some reason. Maybe it stayed in a little long.
Yeah, I don't like my ribs to be fall off the bone personally. I like them to have a little bit of bite to them. But that smoke ring is in there. It is there.
Super juicy. I like juice.
Oh man, I'm sorry, but that's really good. What do you think, Fisher? Oh yeah. Okay, I think we finally got past the stall. We're up at 165 degrees on this Boston butt. Here's this brisket. Our temperatures are well, they just dropped because I opened the door, but they were right at 200, and I just threw a couple more logs in. And of course, right when you throw some logs in, there's a little bit of smoke that happens until that cold wood gets heated up. But in a minute here, I've been leaving the door open, and I've been maintaining mid 200s basically 90% of the time through this cook. And we took the ribs off at 5 hours. They were delicious. Took the turkey off at 6 hours. I kind of forgot about it, but It actually wasn't dried out at all. Nice and moist and delicious. Really liking the results so far. The smokeless Solo Stove smoker. Right now it's not smokeless because I just put some logs in, but it's basically maintaining that smokeless status for 95% of the time. And the taste has been excellent on the ribs and the turkey so far. I can't wait to try the butts and the brisket and the picnic. See, we'll let you know what we think of that when we do that. Okay, it's 10:30, so it's been is it 10:30? Yeah, 10:30. So started at 3 o'clock. So that's 7.5 hours. We got 2 splits left. Got about half of our half splits. So we didn't really use too terribly much wood over the last 7.5 hours. And here's our stack of barbecue. We already pulled the ribs and the turkey off. Here's our Solo Stove, zero smoke. And we're gonna go ahead and take this inside. It's getting a little late for me to be out here barbecuing. I'm probably gonna wrap this and put it in the oven for the finish. But we'll take a look inside as well. Okay, here we are. We're about to wrap all this, or at least cover it with tin foil, and put it in the oven for the rest of the cook. We've only come up to like 165 on our brisket, and on our butts here and our picnic over there. We got a little piece of butt sitting here. We're about to just see what it looks like as far as sliced pork. Okay, I think you can see that okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and slice into this. And it's got, to me, honestly, that pink color looks like a smoke ring to me. And that's on a Solo Stove. It's supposed to be smokeless. So you see here, you got the brown, which would be the pork color, and the pink, which would be the smoke color. Let me give a little taste of this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's really good. Now it's not quite, you know, it's not ready to pull yet. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this pork off in the oven. Cover it with some foil and make some pulled pork. But that is very good. Good smoke flavor. Loving the results. All right, y'all. This is one of these butts, and it is so moist, so delicious. The smoke flavor is good. It's not overpowering. It's delicious, delicious sliced pork. I've got brisket up here and a picnic down there and the butts down there. I'm gonna put them at 250 degrees overnight so that they will hopefully fall apart in the morning, or at least it'll be pulled pork and nice tender brisket. So that's the cook, guys. I think the Solo Stove was a success by the taste of those ribs, that turkey, and this pork. I think I'm going to be doing some more experimenting with this, and maybe do some future videos as to smokeless versus smoker. And the Solo Stove is proving out to be a serious contender for my future fire management and flavor profile. It's really quite good. As you can see, I used a lot less wood, and it was really just easy. Just toss the logs in there. There's no fiddling with it. The stove burns the wood very efficiently, very cleanly, and you're not worried about trying to keep smoke at a low level. It does it for you. And so probably some more variables I can play with, like moving the stove forward and backward in the cook chamber. But we'll see. This may be something. The smokeless smoker with a smokeless fire pit inside of a offset smoker. See y'all guys next time. Later. Okay, it's the next day. It is 9:30 a.m. The meat has been resting for 1 hour with the foil on. So let's see, if I put it to bed in the oven at 10:30 and I got it out at 8:30, then I believe that is what, 10 hours at 250. So let's see here how this bone comes out. Oh, yep, it came out. So that's pretty tender there. Let's see how these butts, oh, yep, bone just slips right out of the butts. This bone's kind of holding a little bit, but it flakes off. Okay, so very tender. This is going to pull very easily, very nicely. Look at that smoke ring. I'd say the smokeless Solo Stove still does a smoke ring. And let's see how that tastes. Very good. No overpowering smoke flavor. That's very well done. Yeah, I think I may be doing the Solo Stove thing again. It really made it easier. You just toss your logs inside that Solo Stove. There's no rearranging of fire. It reflects all the heat back on itself, which keeps the fire going. No smoldering. Smokeless barbecue is good. Solo Stove. Later.
All right, guys, here's the moment of truth. We got our burn in here on the end. And look at the juices flowing out of that. That is nice. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, yeah. Very tender. Delicious. Now let's go over here to the money muscle. Look at all that juice. Oh my goodness. I am excited to try that. Very tender. Wow, it's like falling apart. Look at the smoke ring. Smokeless smoke ring right there. I will admit it's a little bit lighter, but it's very deep. Good flavor to it. Loving it. Let's see how the pork pulls here. Falling apart. Falling apart. This is gonna be a good dinner. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Later. All right, guys, this pork, it really pulled nicely, and I'm really happy with these results. I think I mean, you can see the smoke ring in all this pork. The smokeless Solo Stove still renders the flavor. It doesn't have the bitterness of too much smoke. It is a lot easier to regulate the temperature. I used a lot less wood, and just that burn was complete, efficient, and this is some really good results, guys. Till next time. Okay, guys, had to do one last video. You got this is your picnic. You can see the color is lighter, a little less fat content. You got your butts. This is a little darker, more ingrained fat. We're finding the flavor better. If we were to mix these two, we would get a happy little medium of texture and flavor. And here we're gonna open up this brisket and reveal the point where the flat and the point meet. So, sorry, I got a broken finger here. All right. Now, is that juice or is that juice? Let's give it a try. That bark is... Okay. Oh yeah. Now that's a good smoke.